So she tells this story about how it was that maple syrup came to be, and in June of 2005, she had a tourist from Ontario in her van with her, and she starts telling this story, and the tourist says, well, where can I buy this Indian Maiden syrup? And in that moment, Mary Louise said, I can't get it for you now, but I'll have it in a few weeks. So she took the tourist's information, her mailing address, brought her back, and then went to work. 4 weeks later, Indian Maiden maple syrup was born. So it's something, Mary Louise talks about this. It was an idea that's always been there in the back of her head. She's always felt that this is something that she's meant to do. She just hadn't found the right moment. And this question from a tourist galvanized her resolve that this was a direction that she was going to take. And so, she told me that she very frantically kind of, she had already made contacts with maple syrup producers because of her work as the chief. So she knew who she could sort of obtain the maple syrup from. So she bought, a couple of 100 bottles. And then she worked with a company called Vibe to design the labels. And she talks about how, I didn't even have a camera at the time, so I went and I borrowed a camera, and then I dressed my daughter up in her regalia, and I took a photograph. And that's the image that you actually see on the maple syrup bottle. So, the Indian Maiden case A is about recognizing that opportunity, sort of a very easy entrepreneurship kind of case study. But so there you go. So 4 weeks later, she shipped it off to Ontario, and the tourist got their Indian Maiden maple syrup. And from there on, Mary Louise started selling it out of the back of her van, first of all, mobile unit. Sold it from her home in Middle River. Sold it directly to tourists, at trade shows, at craft fairs, at farmers markets. And what she found was, whenever she sold it, she was retelling the story of the Indian Maiden. And so tourists started saying, well, this is great, but I want to bring the story home with me. And because of the nature of the tag that's on the bottle, it's very small. It's just an abbreviated sort of 2-sentence version of the story, which gives you a sense, but doesn't give you that level of detail or that depth of the story that you would want. And at the same time, Mary Louise also very much has an interest in language revitalization. So she came up with the idea of creating a children's storybook that told the story, that could be a resource for school children who are learning or relearning Mi'kmaq. Or it could be this tourist, complimentary product that she sells along with the maple syrup.